Have you ever felt like people tolerate you, but never truly choose you? You're there, in the group, in the room, in the conversation. But it's like your presence changes nothing. Like it wouldn't really matter if you just weren't there. The messages you used to get, they stopped. The invitations disappeared. The conversations turned into one-word replies. And then the thought creeps in. Is the problem me? Spoiler, maybe. And even worse, you might be the one pushing people away without even knowing it. You know what really hurts? It's not when someone attacks you. It's when the entire world slowly forgets you even exist. The kind of loneliness that cuts the deepest doesn't arrive screaming. It arrives silent. You feel something shift, but no one says a word. They just vanish. You send a message. It sits there, read, but unanswered. Or worse, they hit you with a dry lull to move the convo along. You try to start a conversation, but they look at you like you're interrupting something more important, like their phone. So you shrink. You say less. You play it off like it's nothing. But deep down, you know, you're being left out. And the worst part? No one tells you why. You start digging inside, looking for what you did wrong. And one thought won't leave you alone. Am I the reason people disappear? You're not doing this on purpose. You're not broken. You're just protecting yourself. So you smile. Always. Even when you're tired. Even when you're hurting. Even when no one asks how you're doing. You try to stay light. Calm. Chill. But without realizing, you become unreachable. You're always good. Always busy. Always fine. And here's the truth. People don't get close to those who seem like they don't need anyone. They feel it. That wall. That distance. What you thought was strength comes off as coldness. What you meant as independence feels like rejection. And eventually, they walk away. Not with a fight, not with drama. They just fade. You say you like being alone. But what if that's just fear talking? The fear of not being understood. The fear of showing what you feel and not knowing how they'll react. So you fake it. You say you don't care. You pretend you're above it. You act like none of this gets to you. But deep down, you're hoping someone notices. That someone, somewhere says, I see you. This didn't start yesterday. This didn't begin with a ghosted message or a canceled invite. This is older. Maybe it started when you proudly showed someone a drawing, and they barely looked. Or when you cried, and they told you to man up. Maybe it was when you trusted someone, and they used it against you. Maybe you were too sensitive for this world, and the world punished you for it. So you learned, if I show who I really am, it's going to hurt. So you stopped showing. You hid your sensitivity, your craving for closeness, your need to be chosen, your wish that someone would just say, don't go. You were too intense, too deep, too much. So you built armor. You froze. You shut down. You pulled away. And that armor, the thing that once protected you, is now your prison. It's not keeping the world out anymore. It's keeping you in. Now you live on autopilot. You do everything on your own. You handle your struggles quietly. And you're still the one helping everyone else, smiling while you bleed. Everyone thinks you're fine, because you're so good at pretending. You're used to being no one's priority, only remembered when someone needs something. Last to know, first to be forgotten. You've probably asked yourself, would anyone even notice if I disappeared for a few days? And then you laugh, because that's what you do. You laugh, even when it's not funny. Even when all you want is for someone to ask, are you really okay? You're everyone's shoulder to cry on, but your shoulder, always empty. You hold everyone else up, but no one's there when you start to fall. And somewhere along the way, you stopped being seen, not because no one's looking, but because you taught the world not to look. That's what happens when you always say, "I'm fine." But enough. Enough pretending you're not hurting. Enough being nice to people who forgot you. Enough burying the truth just to keep the peace. You've been strong for too long. So long, in fact, you forgot what being real feels like. You don't have to carry this forever. You don't have to keep playing the cool, collected version of yourself. You don't have to stay invisible just to fit into a world that never gave you space. If no one's coming to save you, maybe that's because this time, you're supposed to save yourself. Not for revenge, not to prove anything, but because you finally understand, you deserve more than survival. And maybe you've tried before. Maybe it didn't work. Maybe you fell back into silence. That's okay. What matters now is that you're done abandoning yourself. You've seen too much, felt too much, held it in for too long. Now it's time to let go, to break the cycle, to start rebuilding. And that begins now. The pain showed you what's broken. Now it's time to move. Here are 4 paths to start your shift. They won't go viral, they won't look pretty, but if you take them, they'll shake the walls of your pattern. 1. Say what you feel, even if your voice shakes. People don't connect with perfection. They connect with truth. Write it, speak it, whisper it, but say it. You've spent years hiding. It's time to let it out. Truth builds bridges. Truth creates space. Truth says, I exist, and what I feel matters. 2. Admit that you need help, without shame. Asking isn't weakness, it's strength with scars. You've carried too much for too long, and the world clapped while you crumbled. You don't need to be the foundation for everyone. You need a space where you can fall apart too. Reaching out doesn't make you small, it makes you human. 3. Break the character. Return to presence. You've tried to be interesting, now try being real. In your next conversation, look up. Look them in the eyes. Breathe. Actually listen. No phones, no performance. Just presence. Real presence hits harder than rehearsed charm. 4th, write. Every day. No filter. No breaks. Writing isn't just venting. It's facing yourself. Write what hurt. Write what you buried. Write what no one ever gave you permission to say. Bleed into the page. Scream into your notebook. You don't need to be wise. You just need to be honest. And if it ever feels too heavy to carry alone, get professional help. Therapy isn't weakness. It's courage. It's clarity. It's you saying, I matter. If you don't have access right now, that's okay. Start here. But remember, you don't have to do this alone. You can keep being the one everyone forgets, or become impossible to ignore. You can keep swallowing the silence, or speak loud enough to finally hear yourself. You can wait for someone to save you, or realize, no one's coming, and that's your cue to rise. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. And if you've made it this far, somewhere inside you, something is still alive, still fighting, still hoping. Don't let it die, because this was just the beginning. The next video is where the rebellion truly begins. We're going to name something you've felt your entire life, but never had words for. A silent sabotage. A cycle that's kept you stuck without chains. You'll finally understand it. And more than that, you'll learn how to break it. Mental rebellion. This isn't motivation, it's war.